Hello and welcome to Living in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Evan Deal with eXp Realty, and on today's episode, we're going to get you prepared to move. And where are you moving to? Westfield, Indiana, the very northernmost suburb above Carmel in Hamilton County. And this area is absolutely exploding. Yes, there's tons of opportunity in Westfield, but you want to be prepared if you're going to move there. But before we prepare to do that, you should prepare to leave a like on this video, hit the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so that you're kept in the loop on everything happening in and around Indianapolis, the Circle City, Westfield above it, and everywhere all over the city. We cover it all, but today we're covering Westfield, so let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna get you prepared. So pack your backpack, pack your suitcase, strap on your gear, and let's get going because we got to move you to Westfield. And what do you need to do first? Well, I mentioned earlier, Westfield has a ton of opportunity, and that is no joke. Of all the different suburbs around Indianapolis, Westfield is one of the hottest area for new build activity, and you see tons of people moving there. Yeah, I've talked about this a lot on this channel. Carmel is mostly tapped out for new construction. There's a little bit here and there. There's pockets. There's some in West Clay. I know there's some senior developments in Carmel proper, but there's not a lot of space left in Carmel. So what you see is people moving north of Carmel to Westfield. In fact, the population has boomed. It's over 50,000 now. 50,000 people in Westfield, and it continues to grow. It's like the fastest growing city in Indiana. So with all of that comes a lot of opportunity and a little bit of chaos. We're going to touch on all of it here and how you can prepare for it. But the number one first thing you need to do when you're moving to Westfield is decide what kind of community and what kind of home you're looking for, because like I said, there's a lot of different options. So if we're talking new builds, what kind of new build are you looking for? If you're looking for like a luxury new build, like a really high-end house with top-tier finishes, you're going to probably be looking around the Chatham area. There are other options in Westfield, and there are some that aren't even in a community because there's a lot of land to be built on throughout Westfield. But Chatham is one of the booming areas for luxury developments. There are very, very nice custom homes throughout that community. So if you're looking on the luxury side, you have different options. There are a couple different communities throughout Westfield and more on the way. And you could be looking at a private lot type situation, because you'll notice in the Westfield area, there's tons of fields. There are still literally West fields or northern fields, some kind of fields. And so there's a lot of opportunity for construction depending on what type of lot you're looking for. So if you're looking in the more traditional new build price range, there are tons of options across Westfield. I mean, you will see them everywhere. And if you want to see them, let me know. That's kind of a specialty of mine. I love the different neighborhoods across Westfield. Some are north, some are south. A lot of them are built around Grand Park, and we're going to touch on that in just a little bit. So what you see is different builders. A lot of the communities, the vibe is pretty similar, but they do have different amenities. Some focus more on just the homes themselves. Some focus on having all sorts of neighborhood amenities like pickleball courts, pools. Everyone's focused, of course, on like snow removal and maintaining streets and things like that. So that comes with the territory. But you got to decide on which community is going to fit your vibe. Are you like a Midland person? Do you like Lindley Ridge? Do you like Harvest Trail? Do you like, it changes with different builders as well and different styles of home. Are you looking for a townhome? Maybe Bonterra could be a good fit. There are really just a ton of amazing options right now. So if you're in the new build market, check it out in Westfield and let me know, because I want to check it out with you. I love going to these communities. You see that we film a lot of them because these homes are really nice, and there's all sorts of different pricing tiers depending on what you're looking for too. There's, sort of high-end level homes. There's more, first-time home buyer level homes. Depending on what you're looking for, there are options in Westfield. Now, we covered luxury, we covered new build. These are booming right now in Westfield. But there are existing construction homes as well. So there are all sorts of different homes that are maybe a little bit older, or even new build communities from the past as well, that are starting to reach a different age level, different maturity of the neighborhood. So there are existing options in Westfield as well. And depending on what you're looking for, there is going to be something for you, because Westfield has different types of homes throughout the area. And like I said, the population is booming. So the real estate market is very active in Westfield. Now, with this, what's the next thing you need to know before moving to Westfield? It's not just what style of home or what community that you vibe with the most. In my opinion, one thing that you really need to take into consideration when moving there, I guess the second thing on my list, is how close do you want to be to Grand Park? Because there are pros and cons here. Grand Park is like the beating heart of Westfield right now. It is just a massive, nationally recognized sports complex. If you have kids involved in youth sports, like there's no better place in Indiana than Grand Park. It is sprawling, like a million basketball courts and tennis courts and baseball fields and football fields and soccer fields and indoor sports, outdoor sports, you name it. It is humongous, and it's really hard to understand the scope unless you're there. A lot of the new build communities are ringing around Grand Park. It's like they're arteries coming out of the heart of Westfield. And even some of them have it in the name, like Grand Park Village, which is a Beezer community. Like, Grand Park is that pulse of Westfield. And it's one of the key things that separates it from other areas in and around Indianapolis. So if you have kids involved in sports, then it can be really beneficial to be very near to Grand Park. If you don't, it may not bother you. The traffic isn't bad most of the time around Grand Park. There can be peak times when there's events where there's going to be more cars on these roads. And most of the time you're looking at, kind of 2-lane roads around Grand Park. However, during those peak times, you may not want to deal with that. You're saying, I'm trying to turn left out of here, and it's backed up with this event. Most of the time that's not going to be a problem. But if that's something you don't want to deal with, or you don't want to be near Grand Park, maybe you want to be near different amenities, that is something to consider. Maybe you want to, be in the Chatham area. There are different types of communities in that area. It's not just the super, super high-end luxury. Maybe you want to be a little bit closer to 31. Maybe you want to be on the countryside. There are plenty of different options across Westfield, but thinking in proximity to Grand Park can be a really big deal in your planning. And my expectation over time is that the areas around there will not just be residential, but will continue to develop different amenities as the population continues to expand. I know there's a lot of development in Westfield right now. And actually, before I continue, that brings me to my third point. How willing are you to deal with construction and with newness? Because that is a key consideration before you move to Westfield. Westfield's a very nice area, and I would predict that there's going to continue being a ton of investment because the demand is there for housing. But the infrastructure is catching up to it in a lot of different areas in and around Westfield because that population is surging. And so you see houses going up, but some of the, day-to-day amenities that come with housing lag behind a little bit. And so you see a lot of construction, whether it's construction of houses or construction of that infrastructure around Westfield right now, in different areas around Westfield, because the town is booming. You see this with the major downtown project that's going on in Westfield as well. It's a renovation, an expansion. There's different businesses, amenities, both public and private, on the way in Westfield. Even like just off in downtown Westfield, there are brand new or close to brand new, a giant apartment complex. It's absolutely stunning in downtown Westfield. That wasn't there, not that long ago. So you see things like this happening across the city, and it's going to continue as that demand is there. Carmel is very built up. Fishers is very built up. Noblesville also very built up. Westfield is that next area within Hamilton County where you're seeing major citywide expansion. And with that comes construction vehicles, sometimes construction noise, depending on the community you choose. Like if you're in Monon Corner, there may not be very many lots remaining in that community, so you may see less construction. If you're in one where it's still building or one that's being planned out, you're going to deal with more construction. So that's something to think about when you're looking at purchasing, especially if you're looking at purchasing a new build or an existing construction that's near areas where they're building new homes. So think about that as well. Think about the type of community you want to live. Think about how close you want to be to Grand Park with that, and think about how willing you are to deal with construction. These are key things that you need to keep in mind when moving to Westfield. And so with that brings me to 4. And 4 is, how do you feel about, a downtown that's still in development? You have other areas in and around Indianapolis, certainly Indianapolis and some of the, more established suburbs. Even in Hamilton County, you have more established places like Fishers, Carmel, where they're very mature, and in Fisher's case still rapidly expanding. In Carmel's case, they have a lot going on. There are many things to do in both of those areas, and you see expansion over time and a lot of investment in those cities. Noblesville, you have a lot of commercial options, especially, and it's also the county seat of Hamilton County. So with Westfield, that's all coming along. It's coming, but it's not as developed as some of the other suburbs around Indianapolis. So number 4 is, are you willing to be a part of building that? Does that excite you in seeing how the culture of the area develops further over time as it continues to rapidly expand? Like I said before, Westfield is like the fastest growing city in the state. I don't know if it is percentage wise anymore, if it's raw numbers, but it's right there with anywhere. And with that comes change, comes development pains, and comes, different impacts on the culture. What is Westfield ultimately going to become? Because what it is today is going to be different than what it is 10 years from now in a lot of regards. There's still a lot of agrarian land in and around Westfield, but is that going to be the case as much down the line when you have major development projects coming in? As the city finds its cultural identity apart from other areas in Hamilton County and around Indianapolis, you're going to see change over time. So if that excites you, if you're like, I want to be part of that, I want to help shape a city, whether through investment or through cultural activities, that's an exciting opportunity. If you say, I really want to just come plug into somewhere that's really a finished product already, there are other places that may be a better fit for that than Westfield, because Westfield, like I said, it's a boomtown right now. It's booming. So something to consider before you make that move. And number 5, last but certainly not least, is get out and explore. Before you move to Westfield, before you make that commitment, maybe you're moving from out of state, maybe you're moving from New York or California or Tennessee or Texas or wherever you're coming from. A lot of people are moving actually regionally within the Midwest. We see like Ohio, Illinois, people coming into Indianapolis. There's a lot of economic opportunity in Indianapolis. Anyway, I digress. Before you make that move, before you make that commitment to a specific area, you need to get out and explore. And specifically with Westfield, one of the best things to explore are the parks. There are a ton of great parks, whether you're going on the Monon Trail or you're at Grand Junction or any of the other parks across the area. It really is a tremendous place to get out and explore. Like I said, there's not as much to do in terms of the infrastructure as some of the other areas, in Hamilton County or around Indianapolis. So you really need to get a feel for the vibe of the area and see if it's a good fit for you. And so spending a couple days with that exploration, getting a feel for the local culture, going to things like the farmers market in Westfield can really give you an indication on if it's the best fit for you. So with that, that is what you need to do, the things you must do before moving to Westfield. And if you want to learn what you must do before moving to Indianapolis, check out our video for that. We cover everywhere around Indianapolis, this circle city that we love and call home. We cover all the suburbs. And if you like the suburbs, leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so that you're kept in the loop on all of this wonderful content coming your way. We want you to be a part of it. This is a community, not a one-man show, and we'd love to hear what you're talking about, love to talk to you. So with that, I'm Evan Deal with eXp Realty. This is Living in Indianapolis, Indiana. We can't wait to see you in the next video.